in Kansas City. Jeremy Fowler posting today that Travis Kelce is rehabbing aggressively to be ready for Thursday night because, quote, he hates missing games. Kelce officially listed as questionable. As for the other offense in that game, though, Russell Wilson's season has been a tale of two halves. In the first half, Wilson leads the NFL in completion percentage and ranks 4th in QBR. However, in the second half of games, Wilson has posted the worst QBR in the league, and the Broncos offense has been held to 8 points per game in the second half. It makes you kind of think defenses are adjusting. But, Dan, what do you make of those splits from Russ?
I think that's a little bit more attached to, if you watch early in games, he uses his legs really well. Later in games, specifically in the second half, their offensive line just usually gets overwhelmed by pretty good pass rush units, and that's the biggest thing they're not able to hold up. Listen, this defense gives up 36 points a game. Russell Wilson looks completely different this year than he did last year in a much better way. Number one, under Sean Payton, the play-action pass screen game has showed up. The backs have been big with the pass catching. They formation into the boundary. It's man-to-man. You're just leaving that linebacker there. Now you clear out those second-level defenders with the pass concepts. The center gets out in front. This has been the story for this offense when it comes to their backs catching passes. It's a staple of Sean Payton. That's been something that's been shown that's really good. Number two, I think they should live with Jerry Jeudy as the number 3 receiver. You got man-to-man up top and the number 1 and number 2. Those are the guys furthest away from the ball. That gives Jerry Jeudy a ton of space. And then you just have those outside receivers kind of lock down defenders. Jerry Jeudy's got the two-way go there. That's why you see that seam or inside release and then he breaks out. That's been something that they've lived on. They need to do a ton of it on Thursday night. And then Marvin Mims in the deep ball. They've got 12 personnel, 1 back, 2 tight ends. All the tight ends, offensive line and back, are going to be in protection. 8-man protection. Cortland Sutton at the top. He gets that defender near the bottom of the screen to stay low. And then Mims, their second-round pick out of Oklahoma, who's got great speed. Russell Wilson, that's become a little bit of his Tyler Lockett down in Denver. So the play-action pass screen game, they got to have a bunch of that tomorrow night. That's been great. Jerry Jeudy at the 3-position, meaning the guy closest to the quarterback, two-way go. I know you love that.
Yep.
And then he has absolutely locked in Marvin Mims as their big play wide receiver.
Look, I completely agree. And the play caller and the receivers got to do their part, too.
Yeah.
Because when I watched that film from a week ago, receivers weren't coming open until down the field because they're calling long developing route concepts.
Right.
And to your point, they don't have the protection for that.
Yeah.
Russell Wilson is running for his life.
Yeah.
So I need the play callers to maybe schematically say, okay, either it's not the right scheme or it's the talent of why we're not protecting. But let's get our receivers open a little sooner.
I think it's a little bit of that 7 or 8-man protection because I don't think Russell's the quick game quarterback. I think,
he's not.
You know what I'm saying?
But there's something has to give because
agree.
he's not that quarterback, but the plays that they're calling, he can't execute.
Yeah.
So for receivers, you're going to see more man-to-man this week, and you've seen it at a low count. They didn't do well getting open a week ago against the Jets, only had 2 receptions. You got to beat man coverage. You got to beat it quick so Russell Wilson has outlets.
I think that's the point, Hawk, because we've seen Kansas City give up some things in man-to-man, and we know Spags is aggressive, but when we saw him against Zach Wilson, it was a lot of one-on-one plays that they were able to make. First game of the year against Detroit and Minnesota. This was a 27-20 game, and every time they decided to bring pressure, you had to match up one-on-one and Hockenson here for a 19-yard gain. These are the plays that you have to hit if you're Russell Wilson. On the outside, you get man-to-man again, and this is what Kansas City is going to live with because they like the pressure and play man-to-man in certain situations. This is a 13-yard game by the Minnesota Vikings. These are the things that the Denver Broncos are going to have to do. And what you said, Dio, I think is the most important thing, is finding ways for an elite route runner like Jerry Jeudy to get these man-to-man matchups so you can hit some explosives or at least stay on schedule with Russell Wilson and Sean Payton.
Yeah, real quick question, because they're going to see a ton of man, also physical at the line of scrimmage. Like Kansas City, LeJarry Sneed wants to knock you out in press man.
Yeah,
Number one thing those receivers have to do, knowing that that's going to be the case against Kansas City.
Sense of urgency.
Okay.
You got to get into your route. You got to get into it quick. I think receivers make a big mistake by dancing too much in press coverage, and that in turn makes it easier for the DB to guard.
Dude, the Chiefs defensive backs want to knock your head off when the ball is snapped at the line of scrimmage. They got to be great at the line tomorrow night.
Good points, guys. It's been easy to just look at Russ's results so far this season and say, he still stinks. Very nice to point out that maybe that's not actually the case.
He's playing good football.
He's playing really good.